Hare Krishna. So, I don't know, maybe I've spoken about this maybe once before, possibly, but could have been a different audience. You know, in Tamil Nadu, Tanjavur was under the rule of the Marathas. The Muslims came, they had taken over. Then the Marathas came down to drive drive them out. And then they took over, और तंजावुर जो था मराठा राजा के आधिपत्य में था, अधिपति थे उसका. तो ब्रिटिश जब आए तो उन्होंने बोला वी आर गोइंग टू टैक्स. तो वो देख रहे थे किसको किधर टैक्स करें, कितना टैक्स करें, ये सब पूरा देवर नापतोल कर रहे थे, बिकॉज दे हैड टू कम टू अ पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट. उन्होंने ऐसे एक जगह देखा नहीं है, बिकॉज उनका रेगिस्तान में ठंडा है पर वो दूसरा टाइप ऑफ रेगिस्तान है, पानी बहुत है पर कुछ उगा नहीं सकते हो, क्योंकि 8-9 महीना सन ही देखते हो नहीं हो, बरसात हर दिन होता है, देयर इज हार्डली एनीथिंग दैट ग्रोस. यस, ऑल ऑफ यूरोप suffers from the fact that they only have 6 months of cultivation. Can you imagine? तुम्हारा बैंक, एक बैंक है 6 महीना इंटरेस्ट देता है तुमको, एक बैंक है पूरा साल के लिए इंटरेस्ट देता है, किधर जाओगे? Where will you? Is that a question to ask? तो उन्होंने ऐसे देश देखा नहीं जिधर हर दिन इधर से पपाया ट्री है तो वो देता रहता है, रुकता ही नहीं है, किधर क्या शुरू हुआ क्या अंत हुआ मालूम नहीं है. एक कोकोनट का पेड़ रख दिया 10 साल में शुरू, फिर 60 years it is going to just give you, if you don't pick it, it will fall on your head, so you better take care of it and receive the coconut, make nice coconut chips, banana chips with coconut oil. Yes, something. The point is, so they never saw a space like this, and that is why everybody wanted to come to India. You know why the name West Indies? You know why the name West Indies? Because they thought that was India. उन्होंने सोचा हाँ इंडिया आ गया, ये झंडा वंडा ये कर रहा है, फिर देखा ये छोटा आइलैंड है भैया, ये इंडिया थोड़ी है, नो स्पाइसेस हियर, नथिंग. सो एवरीबडी वांटेड टू कम टू इंडिया फॉर दैट सेक. सो दे वर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड इंडिया को कितना टैक्स करें. सो उन्होंने देखा चेंगलपेट में, चेंगलपेट दे टुक द रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ चेंगलपेट. चेंगलपेट इज अ स्पेस वेरी क्लोज टू चेन्नई इन तमिलनाडु. चेंगलपेट का रिकॉर्ड निकाल के वो देख रहे हैं लैंड एलोकेशन कैसा हुआ. तो देख रहे हैं पूरा लैंड में 40% ऑफ द लैंड हैज बीन एलोकेटेड फॉर एक्टिविटीज ऑफ स्पिरिचुअलिटी, एक्टिविटीज ऑफ गिविंग. 40% ऑफ द लैंड हैज बीन एलोकेटेड फॉर दैट. You may not know how 40% you can allocate. 40% you can allocate for temples. Temples will have specific land for anybody. Anything big happens, they will go and donate land for the Lord. Lord of that town or village will always have more land than the richest fellow on the space, because that is the power of our people. Yes. Apart from that, the kings will allocate land for something called chatram. South Indian people may understand this word more often. Chatram is a chowdhury, जिधर marriage is conducted. Today's parlance वही समझ है हमारा, पर उन दिनों का चत्रम क्या था वो दूसरा बात है. So they have land for chatram. इसके अलावा blacksmith, cobbler, laundry वाला, कोई पैसा नहीं देता था उसको. What will happen? This land is allocated for that family. उस land से जो भी cultivation आता था उसको 2 bag, when it is cultivation is done, give him 2 bags of rice. So from this, what has to go? From Chengalpet, truck loads, cart loads, bullock cart loads would go full line. किधर जाएगा? Chennai, Kanchipuram, all these big temples, Kapali, they put the names of all the temples that are there. Mind you, it was not only temples. In the list you have one dargah and you have one church. And we are talking about records of 1850. Can you imagine? This is the Varnashrama that Prabhupada wanted to establish. We don't even understand what was happening. So when the Viceroy came to Tulsaji, who was the Maratha king, he told him, we understand that you fellows are ready. So now there is a dancer for the temple. There is grazing lands for cows that have to be maintained. There are ponds, Kuttai, Kolam. There is a whole list of things like that by those names. So there are big ponds, small ponds, temple ponds, water estuaries, and there are families who are dedicated to managing those ponds. That family's job is every 4 or 5 years they will have a schedule. They'll call all the villagers and say, oh, this is time is to desilt this particular pond. So they will desilt the pond and keep it in such a manner that when it rains, these ponds will receive their full course of water and they will actually seep in. And that's how our country had so much wealth, so much abundance, so much water, so much greenery, was just giving like anything. I was seeing prices of land in 1850. Agricultural land, 2 lakh rupees. I was shocked to see the numbers. Agricultural land was much costlier than other lands because they knew what agricultural land can do instead of these matchbox structures we are building. So that was a golden era. So at that time, he told, we are going to tax all land 40%. What you guys are nuts. You are giving for temple. One French author, there's a beautiful book called it's called A Beautiful Tree. It was inspired by Gandhi and written to collect data. So what are they seeing? They were able to see, they said that India का जो राजा है, जितने भी छोटे राजा, बड़े राजा, जितना छोटा जगह जो भी है, उनका 2 प्रॉब्लम है. They are addicted to 2 things. Said one is they are very reverential to the Brahmanas. Second is they donate more than they can. More than anybody would. So Tulsaji, when he came and he said, I'm going to, you have this Chatram, you have huge lands that have been allocated for Chatram. What is this for? So I'm going to tax that also 40%. So Tulsaji is writing a beautiful letter. And that letter is still, I still have it with me. You should read that letter to understand the glory of Sanatana Dharma, the glory of Varnashram. He's saying, hey Mr. Viceroy, please understand, this land doesn't belong to me. People don't respect me as a king because I'm wearing the Kohinoor diamond on my head. People respect me here and give me this position because we maintain such welfare institutions like the Chatram. So Chatram mein kya hota hai? In the trade, why did I go into this? Ganga, Yamuna, Yor Madhya, I was talking about people walking. Then a completely different thought came to me. Every kingdom would maintain the path right from Kashi down to Rameshwaram and all these places of pilgrimage, because people were addicted to going on pilgrimage. Netflix was not there, no? Yes, they were on pilgrimage. So they would travel. And how would they travel? They would travel on foot. Now, how do they travel during the daytime? So the kings, whoever is there, wherever their path is there, their job is to see that the path is not very hard on the legs. One. Second is it is shaded. दोनों साइड में trees हो, पेड़ हो, पानी पीने के लिए कुछ जगह हो, बैठकर rest लेने. So you go many places in South India, just out of the blue, out of nowhere, you will see a space like the size of this full room from there to here. 4 pillars, 1 top, 1 mandapam. What is this damn thing sitting here for? Yes? We don't know. We don't understand because we never travel on foot. But in those times, these were there on the path so that people could rest. Yes? शरीर की थकान दूर करने के लिए जाके कुछ देर बैठने के लिए जगह बनाई जाती थी. एंड चत्रम का कॉन्सेप्ट ये था कि हर 20-30 किलोमीटर, हाउ मच अ मैन कैन ट्रैवल इन अ डे, दे विल हैव 1 छत्रम. एंड वो छत्रम में घंटी बजाया जाएगा 2 बार, जब छत्रम खुलता है और जब छत्रम बंद होने वाला है. घंटी बजाएंगे. घंटी बजाते ही व्यक्ति को पता है घंटी किधर से बजती है ना, डायरेक्शन. And if you can hear, it also means you are 2-3 kilometers at least. because in those days we didn't have all the honking bells and everything else, So you could hear the bell, you know where to go. So they would go walking to that place, and there they will give you what you want. There is cooked food, prasadam available, being served out to everybody. पर कुछ लोग सोच रहे हैं मैं कोई भी दूसरा पका के मैं खाता नहीं हूँ, तो उनके लिए separate they'll give rice and something else for them to cook, and they will cook themselves. And itna detail Tulsa ji is written in this letter. You should read this. Then he says, अभी समझो कोई वो काशी से रामेश्वरम यात्रा करने आया, बीच में वो एक सुंदरी स्त्री से मिला. Both of them smiling at each other. They decide they want to get married. Chatram performs that also. Then he says किसी का सांप क्या बोलते हैं काट दिया, दस दिया. If a snake bites, so you have an Ayurved there with each chatram, so he will be able to भैया किसी का पाँव टूट गया कुछ करने का है, उसके लिए they had a person. So for that man you have to give. There's a land, one piece allocated. You keep your job. जब भी कोई आया उसके लिए इलाज करना है तुम्हारा काम. This water, you think now you know why the whole thing is flooding. Where is this recent thing? We saw heavy flooding in one place, and they realized that all the lands that were taken for lakes, which were lakes before they gone and constructed everything in that Pune or some place recently was completely submerged in water. Huh? Delhi or some place. Recently I read that. Himachal. Baat hua, most of the people have purchased their flats, you know where? Which was full water body at some point in time before. तो उन दिनों में क्या करते थे लोग? They will have one family for each village who know exactly how many kotta, kolam, what is there in which place. Which means तालाब छोटा ये वो जिधर, और किधर से बहुत फ्लड हो गया तो पानी बाहर लेके जाना है तो किधर से ले जाएंगे? Which is the highest ground in this village? Which is the lowest? Where it will go? Kidhar if you dig a channel, the water will be able to pass. That family would have as a piece of knowledge generation by generation. Our caste system was not meant for fools. It was meant for intelligent people who had a knowledge which can never be recouped now because the system is gone. The Varnashrama system, which later got perverted. But that was the whole this thing. You know, the whole Yamuna used to be a trading belt. In Yamuna, ships would go. What is the story of Radha?
Madan Mohan.
So Madan Mohan का स्टोरी किधर? अभी क्या कोई तालाब में बोट अब्रा भी ले नहीं जा सकता यमुना में. तो क्यों हुआ क्या? What is the problem? वो जो परिवार थे, so they would de-silk this regularly. Even it seems the Mughal emperors also understood that this had some sensible this thing, but the British guys killed it. That is why this book called Beautiful Tree, उन्होंने बोला tree बहुत अच्छा है. Many people like this tree is so beautiful. So what do you want to do? You want to cut the tree in the base and come and put it in your hall because it's so beautiful. But you kill it in its roots. How long this tree is going to survive? Therefore the tree's name was Beautiful Tree. पर भैया तूने पूरा उसका मूल जो है जड़ से निकाल दिया. अभी beautiful tree beautiful कितना दिन रहने वाला है? पानी में रहेगा कि money plant will grow on pani. Tree is not going to grow on pani. This is how our Varnashrama system had gone. So this Chatram, people traveled regularly in thousands. And to support those people, hundreds of acres of land were allocated to Chatrams. So Tulsa ji bolte hain ki it is not my decision. All the Chatrams are managed by the Queen Mother. In our tradition, Chatram is managed by Queen Mother. When people have problem, if there is a famine in the country, the Chatram will have enough stored grains that they will be able to feed people. So if you see every temple, Sri Rangam, all of the big temples, their biggest function was they were Anna Kshetras for everybody. Whoever goes there, no questions asked, prasadam given. This is the glory of Sanatana Dharma. This is the glory of what our system was. So you should imagine when we think of Agastya and Rama, When we think of Agastya and Rama, we should not think of our place now. Here Agastya is saying, you go there is a big banyan tree, and after the banyan tree you have one big forest of mahua trees. तो क्या है mahua? हाँ क्या हुआ? mahua किसी को कुछ पता नहीं. Yes, because we are so completely disconnected from anything with nature. So he says, back to Agastya. So this is the ethos in which Rama and Agastya are there. You should understand that the greenery and the beauty that we had at that time, you cannot even imagine that. If you remember in Balakanda, there is a description of two rivers coming together. The, what is the Trivedi Sangam? In the Sangama used to be so loud. आज जो पानी देख रहे हैं वो 10% भी नहीं है जितना पहले था. Because आधा डैम कर दिया, इधर उधर ले लिया, ये किया वो किया, the bhumi is sucking it out because you are having bore wells for 6,000 feet and you are sucking the water out. So this is not the water you see today. So when that water comes down, there is a description. राम पूछ रहे हैं दूर से, विश्वामित्र को पूछ रहे हैं, ये क्या इतना जोर से आवाज आ रहा है? What you will hear in Niagara waterfall, which is because water is falling from such height and so much water is falling, that you will hear just in the Sangama, because there is so much water flowing. So the ethos that we are talking about, when I read all this, my head's like going into that scene. We need to be able to see what was happening at that time. So he's saying, इधर से 2 योजना दूर में आपको एक बहुत सुंदर जगह मिलेगा जिधर बहुत कंद मूल फल बहुत है और हिरण बहुत है. Look at how many of you have actually been in a place where a deer is running around, walking around along with us? Not in the zoo, not behind the bars, with us. We've seen that. Where have you seen that?
In Rajasthan, in villages, peacocks and deers and
these are natural things, yes. And the beauty of these, can you draw a picture which in any way matches one peacock in its true beauty which Krishna has created? It's impossible, yes. So he's saying that place is so beautiful, you go there. Then he says, I skipped a couple of verses there, did I? And he says, Ramsye Tvam, you will be very happy in that space. Then he mentions this Yayati story again. पिछले बार आपको याद है तो उन्होंने राम को बताया कि ययाति को उसका पुत्र ने कैसे उद्धार किया उसको, how he saved him and this thing. Like that, you are actually delivering Dasharatha. तो तब राम ने बताया पिछले बार, anybody remembers? राम ने बताया मेरे कराया कुछ नहीं है, दशरथ ने जितना सत्कार्य किया है उसके लिए उनका अपना हक से, मेरे कराया कुछ नहीं है उनको, मुझे कुछ लिफ्ट देना नहीं पड़ा उनको, he is by himself capable करके बोला था. But here Agastya repeats the same point again, and then he says, वो जगह तुम जो जा रहे हो वो तुम्हारा जितने दिन के लिए तुमको फॉरेस्ट में रहना है वो दिन का अंत होने वाला है अभी बहुत जल्द. और फिर बोलते हैं, इसके पहले राम ने इधर कुछ डिस्कस, देखो वाल्मीकि फुल्ली, देयर इज नथिंग लेफ्ट आउट. वाल्मीकि सडनली डिडंट अब्रिज समथिंग एंड लीव इट आउट. जो डायलॉग है वो वैसे के वैसे 2 बार बोला तो 2 बार बोलते हैं, 3 बार समरी है तो 3 बार बोलते हैं. The whole summary I've seen in the beginning of Ramayana, there are 2-3 times Ramayana का summary आता है. एक इसने उसको बोला तो वो पूरा summary, इसने उसको बोला वो पूरा summary आता है. That is Sankshepa Ramayana. Summary means he doesn't crunch it. He is saying as it is, as it happened. वैसे narrate कर रहे हैं. तो इधर उन्होंने कुछ short नहीं किया. But here he is saying विदितो ही एषा वृत्तांतो. ये वृत्तांत जो हुआ पहले ये मुझे विदित है, मैं जानता हूं. साधु स्वामी जी आप कैसे जानते हैं, आप तो थे नहीं उधर. तपसश्च प्रभावेन, मेरा तपस्या के प्रभाव से मैं ये जानता हूं तुम्हारे और तुम्हारे पिता के बीच में जो भी हुआ उधर मैं सब जानता हूं, डोंट वरी। देन ही सेज स्नेहा दशरथस्य च, तो पहले मेरा तपोबल के कारण मैं जानता हूं, और दशरथ जो है उनके लिए मुझे बहुत स्नेह है। एंड यू विल सी दशरथ वाज नॉट some little personality, he was a really great person. Here Agastya is talking, Bharadwaja is saying, oh, it's been a long time, I have not met your father. Later Agastya is talking, and then you will see Jatayu saying that Dasharatha was a great friend of mine. Almost everybody seems to see that person as a friend of his. He was a great personality. So here he is saying Sneha Dasharathasya cha. When a sadhu is having sneha for somebody, what a glorious person he is. Yes? Can you have more glory than that? So then he says, and I also understand your heart. Now uske liye understanding his heart mein there is some description there. Yes? Hridayas tasya cha te chando. Yes? Vijnanaha tapasa maya. Because of my tapas, I actually know what is running in your heart. Now what's running in Rama's heart? अभी क्या नया कुछ क्या पकड़ा इन्होंने? ठीक है, वो हमें तो विदित नहीं होगा. साधु महात्मा अगस्त्य है, इनको पता होता है. तो ही सेइंग, तो आप पिछले श्लोक में जाके देखें, पिछले चैप्टर में राम जब आए तो पहले लक्ष्मण को बताते हैं कि मैं इधर रहना चाहता हूँ, अगस्त्य के साथ रहना चाहता हूँ और उनका सेवा करने की इच्छा है. I want to get some time with Agastya. तो फिर आते ही अगस्त्य भी बोलते हैं, अलंकृतो अयम देशः, that you have come and you have decorated just simply by your arrival. आपने अलंकार करा दिया इस जगह को सिर्फ आपका अंदर आने से. यस, तो राम को बताते हैं. तो फिर ये बताने के बाद बताते ये बहुत अच्छा जगह है. दिस इज नॉट प्लेस विदाउट डिस्ट्रैक्शन. ही इज गिविंग, ही इज एंटाइसिंग रामा टू स्टे विथ हिम. ये सब बोलने के बाद अभी क्या बोलने वाला है सुनिए. तो बताते हैं, I have understood your heart's desire. Therefore, I promise that you can reside in a forest of austerity with me, and I will tell you, go to Panchavati. इधर मेरे साथ रह जाओ. नहीं, दोनों का डायलॉग ऐसा ही था पहले, दोनों का मनोभाव वैसा ही था, पर अगस्त्य ने समझ लिया. तो आचार्यों का कमेंट्री देते हैं कि अगस्त्य को मालूम है कि आगे का वृत्तांत क्या होने वाला है. सीता को ले जाने वाले हैं, ये जो भी असुरों के साथ जो संहार होना है, ये सब होना आगे ही होने वाला है. इसलिए वो भी अगस्त्य भी चाहते हैं कि ये होवे. अगस्त्य स्वयं ही उनके बारे में, उनका महत्व के बारे में सुन चुके हैं. वातापि जीर्णो भवा, वातापि और ये दो जो भाई इतने लोग को मारते थे, उन्होंने स्वयं अपना तपोबल से इतना राक्षसों को मारा. पर इधर वे भी चाहते हैं कि हाँ तुम करो. तो प्रभुपाद is, it seems, giving a purport. Yeah, maybe that's coming a little later down. I'll pick that up when that comes. Atapite deva padambuja dvayam prasada lesano anugruhitosmi. Yeah? Anugruhita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno. वो व्यक्ति जिसने प्रसाद लेसानु lesha lava lesha, one is got even a little prasada of the Lord, what happens to him? Janati tattvam. He knows the tattva, he knows the concept. Bhagavan, when he says mat bhaktaha no sadhavo hridayam makhyam sadhunam hridayam tu aham, I am their heart, they are in my heart, we are always talking heart to heart, then why sadhu will not understand the heart of Rama? तो अगस्त्य ने समझ लिया कि राम को मैंने भी निमंत्रण दिया, राम को भी इच्छा है मेरे साथ रहें, पर काम पड़ा है. Therefore, we cannot just sit through this in this manner. So Prabhupada is also saying this, oh Lord, if one is favored even by the slight trace of mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. Therefore, भगवान को ज्ञातुम द्रष्टुम च तत्वेन, if we actually want to, भक्त्या तो अनन्या शक्या हमेव विदो अर्जुन ज्ञातुम द्रष्टुम. Only by bhakti I can be understood. किसी और रास्ता से होगा नहीं. Now again, back to Maithili focus. I just love this word Maithili. Mithila se aayi hui, therefore Maithili. It's such a beautiful name for Sita, and he is referring to her by that name. और बताते हैं रम्ये वनोद्देशो मैथिलीम तत्र रम्स्यते. This is Agastya's declaration. It's a very beautiful place. उधर मैथिली बहुत सुख से रहेगी. Yes, this is the focus. Next verse, he says, there is one more also. There's a eternal jacuzzi in that place, Godavari. So he's saying, Godavaryaha समीपे च मैथिली तत्र विविक्तः रम्यसि. Yes, that ramsyataiva. Ramsya is Ramayiti, Ramsya, all the same root here. That she'll be in peace and happy there. इसमें एक और शब्द विविक्तः, विविक्त से भी लगवा थे यथा वाक्यायमान गीता. But Vivikta means, or Vivikta, 6th chapter, Krishna speaks in the Dhyana Yoga. He says, Yogi, वो जब अपना ध्यान करने के लिए जगह चुनता है, he should not choose a place that is too lonely, too populated. सब लोग मोबाइल फोन बजता रहेगा, कोई भी नहीं है तो बच्चा वो दूसरा प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा ना. दूसरा प्रॉब्लम, सांप आएगा, शेर आ जाएगा अंदर. यस, कोई भी नहीं है तो लाटू, क्या लुटेरे, डाकू, लाटू बोलते हैं डाकू लुटेरे जो है वो आ जाएंगे उधर. बिकॉज all nefarious activities only happen in sunsar places, no? So that vivikta is not preferable for a yogi. So he's saying, now what is this place? This place is beautiful. It's got a fantastic forest nearby. There is a hill, a mountain, very beautiful forest laden with flowers. But it is also secluded, that it's not visited by too many people, because he wants Rama and Sita to have some private time. Yes? He's saying it's also secluded, and it's a very beautiful place to be. So the focus again is that he's talking about Sita, and then saying, I saw the translation said, आप भी साधुओं का रक्षा कर सकते हैं. Actually, I believe it is to say that because you are going there, you will also, along with the other things that you are going to be doing, you will also be doing just as paritranaya sadhuna. वो सब what a byproduct है. Main products is sadhu. So you go there for your core purpose, but साथ साथ में असुरों का संहार भी हो जाएगा. तो ये उन्होंने बताया. So then they decide to move on to Panchavati, and they as they are leaving, तो बताते हैं कि वो, he talks about a banyan tree, and then he talks about after the banyan tree, which means you in Theosophical Society in Chennai, you have one of the biggest banyan trees. It seems it is like size of the football field, something like that. Maybe there is more. So it's a huge banyan. Banyan tree का महत्व क्या है? From its shoot, from its branch, suddenly roots will come down and a new tree will grow. It will keep growing. You both feel Adi kidhar hai, Ant kidhar hai, which is the first, which is that verse? In the Isha, where we say which is the first candle? That Krishna is the first candle, all the jivas, but ultimately we are all eternal, So, इस तरह उस पहले वाली पेड़ कौन सी है किसी को पता नहीं है इतने सालों से. So you can imagine the size of those trees, and that's why they were saying that when they describe साधुओं के जगह पर जब पहले दंडकारण्य के अंदर आते हैं तब साधुओं के और साधुओं के रहने का जगह के बारे में बहुत विस्तार रूप से वर्णन है. And there they talk about these huge trees, like the sun can never come through into those areas. It's like that completely covered canopy. So he's saying you'll see Mahua tree there, and then a forest filled with beautiful. So then एक और श्लोक में इधर the translation seems to look like Agastya, the upholder of truth. No, the word upholder of truth is an attribute to Rama, and like it can never be to anybody else. So some of those things we may have. I share some of this with Vidwan Prabhu. I put these together and share possible errata for corrections. But they are the Sanskritists and they may understand this much better. So then वो उधर से निकलते हैं और साथ में धनुष बाण. इसके पिछले चैप्टर में ही धनुष बाण उठाते ही बहुत लेक्चर सुनना पड़ा, पर अभी पर्पस है. सो धनुष बाण लेकर निकलते हैं. निकलते निकलते as they are walking towards, जो उन्होंने क्या नक्शा बताया अगस्त्य ने? हाँ, महुआ ट्री के पहले banyan tree. हाँ, yes, banyan tree. Okay, so they see on that very banyan tree that he spoke about, huge banyan tree, there is a demon sitting. Now who is this demon? Mahakaya is a huge body. Bhima Parakramam, very strong. Mahakayam Gridram, vulture. Who's that? So, पहले प्रश्न ऐसे मान थोड़ी लेंगे, पहले पूछना पड़ेगा तो क्या किधर का है, क्या रावण का फैमिली का वाला है, किधर से आया. तो राम पूछते हैं उसको, where are you from? So then he starts to give a big description. And the first word he uses is Vatsa. Vatsa is a term of endearment. Bacha, yes, or dear one. It's a term of endearment. Mam Viddi Vyasyam Pituratmana. Please understand that I am a friend of your fathers. This is the first statement declaration. तो उधर ही थोड़ा ठंडा हो गया. पर आगे देखो, ठीक है मान लेंगे, ओ यू आर माय फ्रेंड ऑफ माय फादर, ठीक है चलो घर ले जाता हूँ, तो थोड़ी होता है. यस, आगे पीछे पूछना पड़ता है to understand. But sometimes we also get into this problem. Like today I spent my first half an hour speaking on Raja Tulsa ji and the Viceroy and the Indian system. Yes? So sometimes when you go to old people, no, उधर शुरू हो गया वृत्तांत, वो बंद नहीं कर पाओगे. There is one big वृत्तांत that will come. वो पूरा बैठकर सुनना पड़ेगा. प्रभु जी मुझे मेरा ऑफिस बॉस बुला रहा है. राम को कोई बॉस थोड़ी बुलाया, तो आनंद से बैठ के क्या, what is the hurry? So Rama is sitting and happily listening. And what is Jatayu going to talk about? Jatayu starts talking. Jatayu starts talking about literally from the beginning of creation. And because he's also a very old person, and he's very very knowledgeable, therefore he starts a big narration. Usko संक्षेप में देखते जाएंगे. That wouldn't take us too long. So when he says this, there are 2 points that comes out. Rama honored him because he was a friend of his worshipable father. जो हमारे लिए पूजनीय है, उनके peers जो हैं, उनके लेवल के जो हैं, वो भी हमारे लिए पूजनीय है. That is very very important. तो इससे हमें समझना है, whether it is people from our father's generation or people who have known, who have interacted with our father, you see the kind of respect that is shown. That's very important. If there is somebody who knew our parents very well, अपने parents को जितना respect देते हैं, उतना respect वो लोग को भी देना है. This is a very very nice point from a familial dealing or a societal interaction perspective. But the second point is, इधर बताया जाता है कि देखो इधर एग्जाम्पल क्या है. एक व्यक्ति है, वो तो जस्ट साधारण वल्चर, वो आदमी भी नहीं है, उसको क्या रेस्पेक्ट देना भाई. किसका किसके साथ संग है, उसके हिसाब से रेस्पेक्ट देते हैं. दुर्जनों का जिसका संग है, उसको रेस्पेक्ट देने की कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. यस, कुछ लोग का नाम वृद्ध, 4 तरह के वृद्ध लोग के बारे में, 3 तरह के वृद्ध लोग के बारे में बात होता है. पहले भयो, बिकॉज ऑफ एज बाल सफेद हो गया इसलिए मैं नमस्कार करो मेरे लिए, ऑफर ओबीसेंसेस टू मी, that doesn't work, no. Yes, then is jnana vriddhi. Oh, I have a lot of knowledge, therefore offer obeisance. No, that's the next level. Both you can do. It's not that you should not, but the ultimate is शीला वृद्धि. जो व्यक्ति जिसके पास एज है कि नहीं पर ज्ञान है और अपने प्रतिदिन व्यवहार में जिसने उतारा है, when it is there, that person is worthy of worship. So here we are seeing, इसी तरह भगवान के साथ जो जुड़े हुए हैं वो कौन से भी परिवार से हो, हमारा कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. यस, ये हमारे यात्रा में थोड़ा बहुत दिखता है. यस, जो भी लोग से हम डील करते हैं, पीपल फ्रॉम द लेबर कैंप्स, दे टेक सो मेनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, उसमें कोई ये वो कुछ फर्क नहीं है, भेदभाव नहीं है. वी आर ऑल हियर भगवान का सेवा करते हुए. सो दैट्स अ वेरी वेरी ब्यूटीफुल थिंग. सो दैट्स अ सेकंड पॉइंट, दैट सभी वैष्णवों को there is a verse which says Vaishnavaira jati buddhi da 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 da. This is from Rupa Goswami, and he says if you have jati buddhi, then that is considered a great offense, and it is an aparadha. It is a problem. So the next point, तो हमें समझना है अपना गुरु है, अपने शिक्षा गुरु है, दीक्षा गुरु है, उनके समस्थिति में जो लोग हैं, they have to be shown respect. It is very very important. I see this among the youth many times. I want to make this point here. I want you to understand and grasp this. When you see elders or senior devotees, it is etiquette that you go and acknowledge their presence or wish them or initiate a conversation or at least smile and acknowledge their presence. This is very 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 cardinal. You can't sit like a mannequin. This doesn't help anybody, because this is etiquette. The senior cannot come and wish, hey, hello. He did not. By etiquette, he doesn't have to. If somebody is doing, that's a different thing. But he doesn't have to do. But it is for the young people specifically. This is when you should cultivate this habit. When you see, what is Rupa Goswami saying? When you see an initiated devotee, you have to offer pranam to him straight. Then you take how many years, what they have been doing, what all they have done. There are some people who are like, pillars to the yatra, very big people. Don't sit there and think, oh, I don't know that Prabhu. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know. And किसी को प्रणाम करने के लिए उनको सामने आने की जरूरत नहीं है, उनको आपको देखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. When you see them, you offer pranam. Then it is pranam. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं, Prabhu, can we do vancha kalpata? You've seen this?
Yes, you spoke about this earlier.
Can we do vancha? Which means shake hands के equivalent है क्या? हम shake hands नहीं करते हैं हम लोग. It's not like that. When you see a devotee, offer obeisances. That's it. This is the true amanina manadena, without expecting that there is any prati from there. And it need not be that that person is younger to you. It doesn't matter. A person can be younger to you. Still, if it's a nice Vaishnava, just go ahead and offer pranams. Acknowledge people. That's a basic human trait. It's a very, very important thing. And you see this etiquette very clearly being followed here. Rama will not sit in front of a sadhu unless he is asked to sit. जब तक बोला नहीं जाए तब तक बैठेंगे नहीं. Yes? So this is, I mean, that's maybe आज के perspective में ये थोड़ा too high. At least say Hare Krishna Prabhu. But I'm not asking for anything more. And it's not for me. This is what we are supposed to be dealing with the community in entirety. दूसरा बात एक इसी connection में बताता हूँ. Sometimes some people, I will see Prabhu sitting there. I will see him. But then, immediately, what is this? What is this? What natak, what drama are we doing? एक भक्त है भैया, सारा दुनिया छोड़ दो, सबका if you are going to be Yudhishthir Maharaj and you are going to be the friend of everybody, forget that. वो बहुत दूर की बात है. ये हमारे भक्तों के बीच में, ये भक्त है, भगवान का नाम बोलता है, साथ में बैठ के प्रसाद लेते हैं, एक दूसरे को जानते हैं. No. If she wishes me Hare Krishna, then I will wish her. Otherwise, I will not wish. If we see somebody, this is what Rama does, no? When he sees Guha, he is not waiting. Guha jab aayega, wo 2 kadam lega, fir मैं जाएगा. Yes? You see what Krishna is saying? You take 1 step, I take 10 steps. Rama is not even waiting for that. Guha didn't even start steps. He is just standing there. Rama is already taking step. Yes? And that we should be doing when it comes to acknowledging and seeing people, meeting people. I think it's very important. Be out there and say hello to everybody. कुछ लोग खड़ूस है, वापस बोलेंगे भी नहीं. No problem. हम अपना कैरेक्टर थोड़ी बदलने वाले. अपना कैरेक्टर ये सुनकर बदलना है. उनका व्यवहार देख के थोड़ी बदलना है. राम सबसे कैसे डील करते हैं? Yes? Always with a smile for everybody, meeting everybody, acknowledging people when you see them. Yes? This is a basic thing that has to be done. Anyway, so जटायु से बात हो रहा है. I have 10 minutes, I'll be able to wrap it up. तो पहले शुरू. दक्ष के पुत्री कश्यप ने, उनमें से भागवत में it says 17 daughters were married by Kashyapa. But here it says 8. So there's a annotation note that's coming in that connection. Then Kashyapa told them that I think it is time that all of you bear children, because that is the purpose for which all the, we are in the initial of the creation, and we are here to actually increase the praja, strength of the praja. तो ये बताते हुए वो जब बताते हैं, उनके ये 8 पत्नियों में से 4 were like-minded and agreed to it. Now this brings a very, very interesting thing. There are a lot of girls today, not girls alone, boys and girls. बता दिया तो 3-4 people will shoot me.
Correct.
They don't want to have kids. Okay. कुछ लोग को पूछो, no, we want to. ऐसे भगवान का सेवा इतना आतुर से करने वाले हैं कि ये बाधा हो जाएगा सेवा में. That is also a very nice philosophy. सच्चे पहुंचे हुए लोग सेवा में बाधा आ जाएगा. पुत्रार्थे क्रियते. Prabhupada repeats that a million times. Putrarte kriyate bharya. Why are you getting married? The purpose you are getting married is to have children. So anyway, 4 of them इसमें एक समझने वाली बात है. Specifically between a man and a woman, there is always desire. And relationships में यदि देखें तो many times it could be the desire of one is more than the other. Physical union, one wants physical union more than the other. This is the reality of the world. It's all over. Half the marriages which go on the rocks go because of this reason. To be able to acknowledge, अभी समझो कोई बोलता है परिवार में, somebody say, बच्चा say, I want to go have an ice cream today. I don't want ice cream. At 54, what ice cream am I desiring? I prefer to be off the sweet tooth. But for the sake of the congruence of the family, you do things like this. Yes? You have to let go of things. If that understanding is not there between people of a family, वो परिवार किधर नहीं जाएगा. It will be a very disjointed. एक का अपना इच्छा, एक का अपना desires वो bottle करके रखेगा, दूसरे का अपना desires, and this thing they will keep bottling. This will never be a fulfilling relationship. You will not be able to go on in the next level. Even in your spirituality, it will be hindered by this. I have seen one particular Mataji who was doing some fantastic seva as a pujari. I'm talking about somewhere in Europe. A-class seva. And she wanted children. Her husband, he said, we don't want to have children. No children. भगवान का सेवा करेंगे, ये अनावश्यक भार है, ये लेंगे नहीं. She had a child with somebody else. This is the problem. So here, when Kashyapa is making this mention, 4 of them were immediately in a position to agree. And you know what happened to them? To them were born the Adityas, to them were born the Devas, to all these fantastic personalities. And बाकी जो चार थे, उनके लिए सांप, घोड़ा, कुत्ता. This is it's just an example, but to say that congruence and to be working with each other's desire, that's the purpose of Grihastha-ashrama. And if that is not there, and it can be in all fronts, it can be physical relationship, it can be where you want to live. Okay, I want to say one more thing which matters a lot. Man, you know, within money, I'm not on the roll today. Within money, there are many types. आप में से कितने लोग पैसे का कुछ ख्याल ही नहीं करते, वो आया गया कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. कोई और है जो देखभाल करता है उसका. कुछ लोग स्पेंडर है, हाथ में 10 दिरहम मिला, 100 दिरहम मिला, तो वही रात उड़ जाएगा. भाविका यो भाविका है. No, I mean, listen, there's nothing personal about it. There are different. Within the population, you'll see 25% sitting on that zone. And I'm a saver, कंजूस. मेरा हाथ खुलेगा नहीं. परिवार के लिए करना है, वो भी थोड़ा, why such a big house? What is the problem? No, this is me. भगवान के लिए देना तो वो करने के लिए तैयार, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. पर अपने लिए देखो, money is supposed to be used in 2 ways. We have read this before. This came before. It is a Manu Samhita quote that had come. And Ramayana में भी आता है. दानम भोगम दानम च वित्तम. वित्त is meant for bhoga and dana. तो दान देने के लिए भी है, देना है, भगवान के विषय में दान देना है. But if you think you don't want to use it for bhoga, you will never go for a holiday. You will never take the family anywhere. The wife will always be saying, oh, the other person is going there, they are going on tour for this place, that place. And you will say, no. From this whole segment here, I understand one thing. Jo gar, how to put the whole house in place. Because, what is that verse? Grihini Griham to say that a house is not just some structure. When there is a wife, then that is a house. Otherwise, it's not a house. When there is a wife, that is a house. Because she is Grihini, means वो ग्रह में mainly रहने वाली वो है. वो ग्रह कैसे बनाना है, वो कैसा होना है, it is her prerogative. ये बार बार इधर साफ आता है. Agastya is saying, yeah, that place she will like that very much. वही Rama, you will like that place very much. बोलना था ना किसी को. एक व्यक्ति बोलता नहीं है. Everybody is saying, Sita will like to be there, go there in that space. So what do we have to learn from this? There are some things we should learn to give the women, and then everything will come in return. They will fully support us in bhakti. They will suddenly 10 लोग लेके आए बिना बोले प्रसाद बनाओ, तो वो immediately without any fireworks प्रसाद बनेगी. ये सब होगा if we actually do the necessary things that is necessary for them. This Shastra with it, this is right out here. It's a perfect example for us. I'm sorry, menfolk will be angry with me today. Women will be very happy with me on this front because they'll think this credit card's going to be swiped very soon. Yes? Then, so Aditi gave birth to the Devatas. Diti gave the Daityas who had rule over the entire earth. Hey, I'm going to take a few minutes extra. I may go 5 minutes so that I can logically close this. Otherwise, beach mein ruk jayega. Permissioning, please. 5 minutes. I'll close in 5. And then there is Danu. So she had Naraka, Kalika, so many other names are coming. Then she had 5 daughters who were the origins of the birds. Now why are we suddenly talking about the birds and the snakes and the yaks and the lions and the tigers? Ye baki 4 ke liye. And then Surabhi cows, snake, horse, snake with single hood, 5-hooded snake, Adi Sesha. एलिफेंट ऐरावता कमिंग फ्रॉम देयर, ये पूरा लिस्ट है इधर दिया हुआ है, एक पूरा चैप्टर मेरे को आज जल्दी स्किप करने के लिए मिल गया. तो देन ही सेज फाइनली देयर इज मनु देवी हु वाज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ द फर्स्ट फोर, और फ्रॉम मनु देवी द ह्यूमंस व्हिच पॉपुलेटेड द फोर वर्णास वर born. And ब्राह्मणो ओस्य मुखमासीत् बाहु राजन्यकृतः ऊरु तदस्येद्वैश्यः पद्भ्याम शूद्रो अचायत. Yes, this is Purusha Sukta. तो भगवान from मुखाम ब्राह्मणस्य ब्राह्मणो ओस्य मुखमासीत् from the face of the Lord. So then we are talking about all the four varnas coming. Then Seshanaga. Then the snakes and the this thing have a lot to do with each other, and Garuda have a lot to do with each other. So then there were two that were born to a lady called Vinata. Vainateyascha pakshinam in the Gita. Anybody remember? Hare Krishna. Huh? Garuda's mother is Vinata. So Vainateyascha pakshinam, just like Vasudeva. So Vinata, Vainateya. So Garuda and Aruna, two brothers, both born to Vinata. We know Garuda is very famous for being the Lord's carrier, but Aruna has also performed very great leelas. But how favorable वो भी भगवान के भक्त थे, वो कैसे मालूम पड़ता है? उनके दो बच्चे थे, संपाति और जटायु, अरुण के, तो उनके अंकल है Garuda. So it is from such a great family. Therefore Prabhupada writes very beautifully in this segment. तो फिर ये सब सुनने के बाद ये बताते हैं कि देखिए आप अपना घर इधर पास में बिछाने वाले हैं, तो मैं इधर हूं, आप बीच में आप जाओगे कंद फल मूल सब ले आने के लिए, हंटिंग जाओगे, जो भी wherever you go, तो जब आप जाते हो मैं सीता का देखभाल करता हूं. This was his, and he says if you want, सोहम वास्य सहायस्ते, सोहम वास सहायस्ते भविष्यामि यदिच्छसि. यदिच्छसि, यदि आप इच्छा करें तो मैं वो बनने के लिए तैयार हूं. इदम दुर्गम ही. Why? This place is very durg, very very difficult. Why? मृग राक्षस सेवितम. मृग और राक्षस अनेक हैं, बहुत डिफिकल्ट जगह है. आप कभी भी घर छोड़ के जाओगे तो मेरे को बता के जाना, मैं चौकीदार का काम करता हूँ. भगवान का सेवा करने के लिए सेवातुर, सेवोन्मुखे ही, to be सेवोन्मुखा and bahirmukha. Here straight away he shows that he is becoming sevonmukha. So what does Rama do? He gets the great good fortune of Jatayusham tam prati pujya ragavo. So first thing he did prati pujya. Jatayu also showed so much respect and love, and Rama also showed so much respect and love. Ragavo muda parishvajya cha. Parishvajya is embrace. He went and gave Jatayu a very warm embrace. Sannate bhavata pitur. Why? Why is he doing this? Sannato bhavataha piturhi shushravaha sakitvam. He heard shushravaha sakitvam, friendship, about Dasharatha, and therefore he dealt with Jatayu. Later you will see one more dealing that he did finally for Jatayu, which also shows. Acharya say, जो final अंतिम क्रिया करना था जटायु को, दशरथ को, राम के मन में दशरथ को करने के लिए नहीं मिला, मुझे जटायु के लिए करने के लिए मिला, ये मनोभाव था. Yes, this is the greatness of Rama, which he later also tells us that whoever, whether it is any living entity, if I give them abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami, for all living entities I treat them equally. This is the beauty of Rama. So, and he repeatedly heard this, so then he embraced him, and this chapter ends with this particular section. Now there's one other point that Prabhupada makes in this connection. Prabhupada, it seems, writes, the vulture Jatayu is acknowledged by Lord Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam as one of the living entities who had achieved his abode by association with his devotees. Oh, ये क्या है? ये नया गूगल आ रहा है. वो सदगति क्यों पाए जटायु? भक्तों के साथ संग करेंगे। भक्त के साथ क्या संग हुआ उनका? राम के साथ संग हुआ। उसके बारे में भक्त के बारे में बात करने की क्या जरूरत है? नो, भक्तों के संग के कारण राम का संग मिलता है। यस, उनका अंकल थे कौन? भगवान के पार्षद, सबसे मुख्य गरुड़। तो प्रभुपाद इज राइटिंग हियर, who are the great people he associated with? Shri Garuda, Maharaj Dasharath. Prabhupada is writing this. Maharaj Dasharath, as well as other devotees in Ram Leela, he also personally therefore met with Sita and Lord Ram himself. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai, Jatayu ki Jai, Agastya ki Valmiki Ramayana ki